Hello and welcome to BroPartisan Hacks, where we discuss politics, culture, or whatever else we feel like. Hope you enjoy this short clip from the full episode. So, you've got
Scroll down to number 15.
Number 15.
Yeah, this is the one that I kind of wanted to talk about.
As you see it, the biggest threat to American way of life today comes from A. Other people in America and domestic enemies, foreign countries and military threats overseas, the natural world like weather, viruses, and natural disasters, or economic forces such as money, trade, and business.
Okay. The way I see this, one, it's frightening that everybody, 54%, view the biggest threat as other people in America and domestic enemies. Because that's from both sides, right? 54%. The way I see it is 80% of these people are wrong. Economic forces such as money, trade, and business. That number, that 54%, is the establishment winning. That's the elites winning. That's the moneyed capital winning. The moneyed interests in this company want us fighting each other. Every single issue in this country can be traced back to a giant corporation or an oligarchy that actually runs the country. I mean, think about it. Name a problem. 500,000 people homeless, 26 million without health care, 40 million people on the brink of eviction, 50 million people that are suffering from hunger, that are hungry. To those people, the economic forces, we'll just call them, the human life has no value except for what can be extracted from it. And it's not because they're evil. It's because cruelty rewards those in power with greater profits. Everything is labeled as revenue and expenditure. So they don't see people. They see expenditures.
So
that's what I think.
Hold on.
For the most part.
So this right here, this poll, you're saying that it's the businesses and the corporatists winning.
Yes.
I would agree with you.
When we're looking at each other and saying it's their fault, when we're looking at immigrants and saying it's their fault, immigrants don't sign our paychecks. They're not the ones.
Hey, hold on. So I agree with you on it is the establishment winning. I think that word means different things to us.
The establishment is the money. That's what it is. It is the ever-growing money.
And it is the marriage. It is the marriage between government and corporation.
You cannot have a capitalist economy without the economy controlling the government. You can't have it because capitalism has to expand. It has to generate growth. It has to grow. You have to generate more and more, and it's never ending. Right?
So that is consumerism.
In order to have a capitalist country, we have to have our empire. And this goes back to what we talked about last week, in that our empire is being threatened, and therefore our growth is being threatened. And in order to be capitalist and to have our everything keep getting bigger and expanding, we have to have those. That's why we have, they shut down all the factories here because they were paying too much. You can't produce profit, right? You can't have profit when you pay a lot. And so we had laws here that came in, and they're like, oh, well, we'll just go somewhere else.
What were those laws? What was the law that made all of the auto exports be outsourced? The automotive construction. NAFTA, of course. So it was really the free trade agreements that all those corporatists that you say, and yes, they were on the conservative side, but the ones that you're complaining about were doing that absolutely for the benefit of the corporation. Now, I disagree with you on the fact that you could look at any old mom and pop shop and say, these people have been in the same business for 20 years. They're doing well for themselves. They don't have to continue growing. They haven't franchised. They haven't expanded. They haven't bought a third location or whatever. Like, they are doing well. And it is okay to do well. Economy. What you're saying is greed. The absolute vulture capitalist at its worst possible outcome is ever expanding. It's ever exploiting. It's ever getting worse. Yes. And it creates this empire.
That's our economy. That's how our economy is driven.
GDP is a growth percentage, correct?
Yes.
Yes, and it is the internationally recognized method of showing how an economy is doing well. Why is that? Because it really represents more money flowing around in the economy, which could mean new businesses, more people with money. Like, it's all of these things taken into account. How much money is transferring hands? And so if all you had was just the filthy rich people and none of us normal folks to spend the money, then your GDP sucks because there's not enough money there.
So then why is our normal folk population getting bigger? Why is the poverty level, more people are going into the poverty level? Like that. Like,
why is the poverty level that number continue to rise? It's inflation, right?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, and so you can't have... The problem that you're talking about is the difference between the wages not matching inflation rates, right? So government can't control any of that shit, even if they tried.
Absolutely
and
they
in
can.
fact, if they did try. You know who's tried? Soviet Germany, or the Nazi Germany, the Soviet Russia, and fucking communist China. And what happened in communist China? People started starving. And so they went back to more capitalist measures without all the market controls that you're talking about. If you try to control inflation, you create a black market, which is how the SS actually got started. They were hunting down people in the black market who were dealing shoes over the price that the government had fixed. Because, hey, I've only got 30 shoes, but I can sell them for 50
so fixing
marks.
Prices is different from fixing wages.
Fixing inflation? Inflation is based upon like availability of resources and availability of money, right?
So let me ask you this.
So how does the government
if you can't do it, if you can't fix it, right? Let's look at you tax the fuck out of everybody. That's how you fix it.
So everybody's poor.
And so yeah, exactly.
So your complaint about how do we keep
that's such a stupid fucking thing to say. Rockefeller wasn't poor. He was being taxed at 96 goddamn %. That's dumb. That doesn't make any sense. We didn't have rich people when we were taxing the top marginal tax rate at 90%. There were no rich people. Everybody was poor.
So if you, what was the marginal rate? How much was it?
The biggest.
Above what dollar amount?
In this country, the biggest growth in this country was when? In the 50s, when Ike was president.
After World War II.
Before that.
Yeah.
Yeah, biggest growth. What was the top marginal tax rate?
I assume you just said it.
Top marginal tax rate after World War II.
It was about 90 or 93%, wasn't it?
Huh?
It was about 90 or 93% on that marginal rate, wasn't it?
Yeah, so that's the nominal rate, right? So the nominal rate,
that's
the effective
different.
rate
Those
was
are two different
like
things. Nominal and marginal is different. So your marginal was what, 50? Or no, your marginal was 90. And
No,
nominal...
no. I said effective.
Effective.
Nominal,
okay.
Nominal mean. I was talking about the effective rate, right? Because there's loopholes and there's all kinds of shit that goes in there, right? So you have a nominal rate, which is what they say it is, right? They say it's 90%, but then you have the effective rate, which will show you load in all your bullshit and your Cayman Islands shit, and that's how you get down. They're paying like 50%, but still, that's a huge margin. Like, that's not that that's going to fix all the problems, but we were doing better as a country. More people were doing okay. More people could afford to have a family on one income and 2 cars in the garage and go on a fucking vacation.
What was going on? What happened before all of that growth? How many people died?
I don't understand what that has to do with anything.
How much people? How many people were in the labor market? So you're trying? No. You gotta. I let you finish. You need to shut up and let me finish.
Germany was out of it. Japan was out of it. But that has fuck all to do with it.
No, I'm talking about Americans. Americans. How many Americans died in World War II?
I don't know.
Hundreds of thousands. It was like 300,000 or something like that. Sure.
Okay.
So those are people that were in the labor market that are at fighting age that are no longer available to be in the labor market. So what do you have? You have a labor shortage. That causes wages to go up. When you have a labor shortage, wages increase. It's just the fact of life. That's your fact of capitalism, if you will. That's your supply and demand right there in action. Hey, we've got to hire this guy. There's 3 other companies competing for him. We need to offer him more money so that he comes to work for us. So this idea, when Bernie Sanders was saying that illegal immigration was a Koch brothers conspiracy, he was absolutely right.
Why did the factories leave? They had a surplus of people. Why'd they leave?
I suppose it was because of your, not your, but the wages and benefits laws here in this country. It was cheaper to go and pay somebody in Mexico because you no longer had to pay tariffs to bring the goods back into the country to sell it to the Americans. So you had no incentive to keep the factory here. Right? Yeah.
Profit.
Yeah.
That's the word you're looking for. Profit. Greed. Profit.
I don't disagree.
That's what that is. Profit over people.
You still haven't answered the question of how you fix inflation. How can the government control inflation? In any economic style.
I don't know. I guess I'd have to do more research on that. Because
I posit
I don't understand how inflation is the problem when these motherfuckers are sitting up here with $150 fucking billion and I've got fucking people starving in the goddamn streets. I've got 40 million fucking people on the brink of eviction. We have 90 million goddamn open houses in this fucking country that are sitting because it's more lucrative for those companies to just hold on to them and leave these people on the fucking street.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's 90 million. I made that shit up off the top of my head, but it's a high number.
It's a lot.
But they're just sitting. They're just sitting empty fucking houses because it's profit. I don't understand how you call it inflation is the problem.
Where are those houses these days?
Probably in Florida.
In Florida? Because they're all dead from Corona? Like what? Is that your reasoning?
Well, no. Florida was one of the huge problems in the housing market crisis back in.
Oh, that's where you're throwback to the 2008 housing bubble. Yeah. I would bet the vast majority of those empty houses are probably in major cities run by Democratic governors and mayors. I'll bet you like 70% of all those empty houses are in areas with the harshest lockdowns where people had to stop working this last year, where people were forced to like not go to work and just sit on their ass at home, because we were a service economy, remember? It means you got to serve other people. You got to do things, interact, face to face. That was our whole economy.
That number's not new, Rob. That
it's gotten worse.
Numbers I just gave you, it's not new. No, the 40 million people on the brink of eviction are not being evicted because of the moratorium on evictions. Now, yes,
when was that lifted? Because I know that was lifted in some places.
They redid it. Biden re-signed it. There's another 90-day moratorium until they can do the big bill. There's a $1.5 trillion bill.
That's good. I don't have a complaint about that. I don't think people should leave their home when they're forced not to be able to work. I think that's shit.
I agree. Absolutely. But I also think you have to get this under control. I understand where you're like, they should be open. Some people want to go back to work. Some people don't. Some people are genuinely scared about getting sick.
Yeah.
Some people have underlying health conditions, and that's me. I wanted to go back to work. By week 3 of being at home, I hated everyone. I was done. I was done being at home. I wanted to go back to work. I didn't care what the consequences were. I hated it. I hated being here. Not because I hate being in my house. I just I have to be out.
So do you think people should have been given a choice as to whether hey, here's some guidelines, here's some things you can do to keep yourself safe, make your own decision, be an intelligent human being about it?
We live in Texas. It was kind of, I don't know. I'd never, other than when the school shut down, we did what we could. We were open.
Yeah.
My wife worked the whole time. She's essential. Yeah.
Same here.
So I don't know. We live here. So I don't know what's going on elsewhere. I know that I've been in work. We opened up in September, and I haven't missed a day.
I know that this state had one of the lightest, least restrictive shutdowns of any state. I think second to South Dakota and Florida, or North Dakota and Florida, whatever the Dakota governor was that said, "Nah, we're not doing anything." And I laughed because they sent this email out, right? And it was like, "Oh my God, look at this percentage of all the people who got infected in South Dakota." And it's like, wait, it's a percentage. So if there's a town that has 5 people in it, one person gets sick, that's 20%. That's 20% infection rate. Okay.
There are a lot of towns here too. So but then the number of people, especially if you're in Dallas, there are a lot of people going down, and there are still people having to quarantine left and right.
Oh yeah, no, we got a whole department of people that are just they all got sent home Friday.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Are they not masking up?
I don't know what they're doing, honestly, because it's always the same group of workers. And I think they're about to I think our bosses are about to come down on them. I want to go back to this though, and at a fundamental level, this question here, we kind of went off the rails. We'll remind everybody what we were talking about here. So it's, as you see it, the biggest threat to the American way of life comes from, and here the 54% other people in America and domestic enemies. I think that goes back to what I mentioned, my radicalization moment. In that, honestly, I think one of the biggest threats to this country is, and I'll trace it back to the WikiLeaks stuff. I think it's the marriage between the media and the state, and the propaganda that's being put out to make us hate each other. And is it for a profit?
But
yes.
That is part of it because it is all designed to build profit. The media is controlled by the corporations that advertise for them, with them, right? They
so then
buy
what
advertising spots.
Is their end game?
Did you watch any of the... Say that again?
What is their end game? What's the purpose? What is the goal to make us all hate each other? Like, what are they trying to do?
Because we're not looking at them. Because when we all come together and realize who the fucking enemy is, that's when the proletariat rises up.
I think
I'm telling you, the shit is coming.
Oh yeah.
Because it's funny because we do have the same enemy. The enemy is the establishment or the media. But who controls the media? Who controls the state?
Left-wing people. Left-wing individuals.
No.
Yes.
Profit. Left-wing people. They're not left-wing. They pretend to be left-wing because it's profitable. Because it's profitable to say, hey, we're gonna change Aunt Jemima. We're gonna change Uncle Ben. That's profit. It's just like you make a decision based on what's going to make money, right? So Nike, who's their base? Who buys the most Nikes? Who spends the most money on Nikes? It's black people, I'll just tell you.
Oh yeah,
they spend a lot of money on Nikes. Okay, so they go and they get Colin Kaepernick and they set him up, right? Here, we're gonna give you all this money. We want you to be our face because who's gonna be upset, right? The right wing. They don't buy fucking Nikes anyway. They goddamn buy New Balance, right? They're not going out buying $150 fucking J's. No, right? So they make a decision based on what's going to be profitable. So you say left wing, but it's not. It's not left wing. It's profit.
Thanks for watching this episode of BroPartisan Hacks with Reese and Rob. We really, really appreciate it. If you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. If you have a topic you'd like for us to discuss, drop a line in the comment section below. We're really excited about this new channel, so check back for weekly updates. Rob and I both have day jobs and families, so we only have these weird times that we're able to get together to do these shows. That is, until you guys realize that this show is awesome. Then we can do it every day. We are getting better, and we hope to produce quality content as often as we can. Again, thank you again. Oh, shit.